All right, y'all know who it is. Mark Fuller, TeamAlliance. So this is episode number 2 of the personal finance series. This episode is going to be focusing on savings versus credit. Or as a matter of fact, it'll be credit versus savings. Credit versus savings. Now, why am I saying credit versus savings? It's because as I've grown in my financial base of knowledge and understanding, I've come to realize the power of credit. I've also come to realize the over popularity. Is that a word? Yeah. Over popularity of savings. Now, savings is popular, even though people, to be honest, I think that most people don't save. And I would say, and I'm speaking from the American perspective. In America, the majority of people are not saving any money. Now, people will, invest money in their 401k and, for retirement, things of that nature, because it's a part of their job. So it's kind of like it comes out your check. You don't miss it. A lot of people will invest that way. But as far as savings versus credit, or credit versus savings, I should say, credit is king. And there's a reason that I'm saying that. And there's a reason that I'm going to focus on that in this video. Emergency savings. What happens if you have a financial emergency right now? How many of you have savings in the bank that you can tap into and use for your financial emergency? In other words, how many of you have cash in the bank that you can use in the event of an emergency that comes up financially? Most people don't have money in the bank. So the first go-to is going to be credit. You're going to use a credit card, and you're going to forget about the fact that you're using that card for whatever you're using it for right now. And you'll just go on continuing to make the minimum payment on your cards. This is what most people are doing. These are facts. Most people pay the minimum payment on their card. Most people are maxed out in their cards. And this is why people are constantly getting new cards, because they've maxed out the old ones. So what should you be doing as far as savings go? This is why this personal finance series is so important. How should you be saving? That's the question. And my response to that is that you shouldn't even be saving any money. But listen to why I'm saying that. Any money that you put into a savings account, any money that you just put into the bank and that you leave there, just sitting there not doing anything, is actually costing you money, because the value of our money constantly decreases. So everything is going up in price. Groceries, gas, anything that you pay for is constantly increasing in price. So the cost of it is going up, up, up all the time. And I talked about this, I think, in the second episode of the wealth creation series, the expansion of the monetary system. Money becomes less and less valuable. It's buying you less and less stuff over time. Every day it becomes less and less valuable because they keep increasing or expanding the money supply. So as they print more money, the value of the money already in circulation becomes less valuable, meaning that money that they're printing has to go somewhere. And where does it go? It goes into increasing the prices of everything. So you see the price of everything going up all the time. Year after year, decade after decade, everything just always costs more money all the time. And that's why. It's because the monetary system or the currency is constantly expanding. It's constantly increasing. It's constantly being printed with new and with new money all the time. Every time that a car loan, I'll give you a good example of how fractional reserve banking works. Anytime that you go to get a car loan, the bank don't even have that money to give you. What they're doing is, in the computer system at the bank, they're typing in the amount of money that they're going to get as credit from the Federal Reserve System, because they're allowed to borrow 10 times the amount of the money that they have on deposit at their bank. So if they got $10 million on deposit at a bank, any bank, that bank is part of the federal banking system, they're allowed to lend 10 times that amount in the form of credit, auto loans, mortgages. And it's actually even more than 10 times. I think it's closer to 100 times, if I'm not mistaken, that they can lend up to, depending on what their situation is within the Federal Reserve System. This is what banks are allowed to do. So they're lending you money that they don't even have. They're using credit to give you credit. And this is why I'm saying that savings doesn't really make sense. And I'm going to explain why. If you have debt, you should be paying your debt off first. You want to get out of the trap of paying interest. Interest is what's killing people financially, because you're literally giving money away by paying interest charges. Any interest charge that you can think of, on a credit card, on a car loan. The only good interest is on a mortgage, because you're allowed to deduct that interest on your taxes. And not only that, it's because it's for your house, it's for your home, you live there. So the interest expense is just part of the expense for the house. But aside from interest, a portion of your mortgage payment is also going towards the principal. That's why it's principal and interest payments within your mortgage. On top of that, you'll have your taxes and your insurance probably built into your mortgage as well. But that goes into escrow. So that's put aside each month, so that at the time when your insurance bill is due, they have the money, because they've put it aside from your mortgage payment. They have that money to pay your insurance bill. When taxes come due, they have that money to pay your property taxes when it comes due. That's why your mortgage has your insurance and your taxes built in and going into escrow as part of your mortgage payment. It's a very clever and smart way that they actually do it, though, because it ensures that you get all of your stuff paid for without having to think about it. Because if you had to do it yourself, you probably fuck it up. It just is what it is. Most people, oh, I forgot to pay the property taxes. Oh, I forgot all about the homeowner's insurance bill. Next thing you know, you didn't pay your bill. Now you don't have insurance, or you didn't pay your bill, and now you owe your local government property taxes, and that's a problem. So you have to understand that savings versus credit is, hands down, you should not be saving money in the bank. You should be using credit for everything that you're doing. Number one, you should not be saving money in the bank. Like, you shouldn't just be putting money in the bank trying to save up. Even if you saving up money to buy something, you're better off paying down the debt on your credit cards so that you can free up available credit to buy whatever it is. And I know that seems contradictory, because you're like, well, Mark, why would you want to put purchases on a card and then pay interest? It's because you should be paying, first of all, more than the minimum. You should always be paying down the debt on your cards. You should always be paying down the debt on your car loans. Always. Like, never just make the payment. You should always be paying more than whatever the payment is so that you pay it off early. Your single objective should be to have no credit card debt, to only have the available credit from your cards. That should be your goal. Some people, their first goal is to save and to have savings and emergency save. You don't need an emergency savings if you have access to credit. And your money is better served by paying down your credit cards than it is sitting in the bank depreciating in value. Because that's what's happening as your money is just sitting in the bank not doing anything. When you're paying down your credit cards, it's actually doing something, because it's eliminating interest that you would have been paying on the amount that you're paying down the principal of your actual credit down by. So as you lower your debt, you're lowering the interest. You're killing the interest that's killing you. Most people don't even think about this. Just look at some of your cards. Some of your cards might be as high as 30% APR. Like, all jokes aside, some people are paying 30%. Some people are paying 35% APR on a credit card. It's insanity. As your credit improves, they send you offers like, 0% APR, whatever the case may be. Sometimes it might be, just even like a lower interest rate or whatever it is. They'll send you these offers, and the offers are great because what they do is they allow you to take whatever that offer is for that amount of time and lower the interest rate or eliminate the interest rate altogether. And then you can use that credit to pay off something else that has higher interest on it. You see, that's how that works. So, bottom line, when it comes to savings versus credit, or credit versus savings, is that credit is king. It's better for you to utilize credit. So this means that if you don't have credit, you need to establish credit history so that you can begin to build your credit and begin to have access to credit. Like, credit is a way to accelerate everything that you want to do financially. It's not about you having all of these cards and being able to buy shit, which is what most people make it about. Where they end up owing all of this money because they bought a bunch of stuff that they can't afford, and really they bought a bunch of stuff that they don't need to have, but they put it on the credit card because it's just an easier way to go about doing it. Oh, I can just buy this stuff now and worry about paying for it later. You can do that, absolutely. But that's going to cost you a lot of money, because you're going to be paying all of these interest charges, because in your mind, you're not worrying about paying down your debt. You're worrying about going shopping and using your credit to buy shit that you really can't afford, when you should be using your credit to buy shit as if it was cash that you were using. That's how your credit should be used. And every time that you are paying for stuff and increasing your credit, or your debt, I should say, increasing what you owe, every time that you're doing that, you should be looking to decrease the amount that you owe as fast as you can, so that you can lower the amount of interest that you're paying. Period. That's what you should be doing. So this is a good episode because a lot of people don't realize how important credit is. And, you know, some people, I do everything in cash, and that's cool, but it's not really doing anything to benefit you on any level, long term. It's not doing anything to put you in position, you know, to ultimately own a home, as a good example. A home is one of the best things that you can do as far as wealth creation goes. Like a lot of people don't realize that. Oh, but no, it's an expense. No, paying rent forever is an expense. Renting is an expense. Mortgage is not an expense. Yes, having a home means that you have to pay for things that come up that, you know, need to be addressed or whatever the case may be. But you have control over what you do. You don't have to build a deck right now. Like people get out of control when it comes to houses. You want all of this extra shit with your house. Just buy a house and live in the house and chill out. Relax. You don't need a pool and a deck right now. Relax. Like people get out of control. Oh, I got a nice house and I want to put this up and I want to build a back porch. Like, why are you doing all that? I need a screened-in porch. Okay. Well, you know, I need some credit. There you go with the bullshit. You're worrying about the wrong shit. As far as home ownership goes, you want to put yourself in a position to build up some equity in your home before you decide to try to do anything. And not only that, you also want to make extra money or take extra money and accelerate the payments on your mortgage if you can. This is, of course, if you don't have debt. First and foremost, you need to pay off is your debt. If you got credit card debt and all of that, you need to be paying all of that down. Period. Like I can't emphasize that enough. Pay your credit cards down. Pay your debts down. You got a credit card, you got multiple credit cards, you got store cards, you got all of these cards. Pay them down until you pay them off. After credit cards, car loans. Pay them off. Then after your cards paid off, then you go to the house. See, when you change your perspective on things, you start to reposition how your finances start to flow. And it's uncomfortable in the beginning because you have to make sacrifices to put yourself in a better position later, like years from now. Some of y'all want to be all comfy cozy all the time. You're not going to be able to be all comfy cozy all the time. You're going to have to make sacrifices in order to put yourself in a better position at a later time. And some of y'all don't see the value in that. You know how great you will feel knowing 5 years from now you'll be in a better position than you are now? This is what personal finance is all about. You want to put yourself in a better position years from now. That should be your plan. Well, there's certain things that you have to adhere to in order to execute that plan. The primary thing is paying debt down until it's paid off. Then it gives you access to credit. Now you can use credit properly, because now you can actually use credit to pay your house off. You can use credit to pay your cars off. Like, these are more episodes coming. I'm gonna get into more details with these things so that you guys understand where I'm coming from and what I'm saying. I'm not just talking just to talk. These are financial principles that work. And the reason that a lot of y'all are broke is because you have more month left at the end of your money. But if you just rearrange your finances a bit, you can start to redirect money in the proper way so that it targets the right things. You gotta attack that debt. You gotta pay it down, period. Oh, but no, but Mark, you gotta go out and you gotta enjoy yourself. I'm not saying not to do that. But what was the first episode about? The half and half rule, right? All right, you're gonna do that. Cut it in half. How often do you eat out? Some of y'all eat out too much. Y'all want to eat out every weekend. Eat out every other weekend. Half and half. And you take the money that you would have spent to eat out and you attack your debt with it. This is also a part of wealth creation. See, and this is another thing about why I'm saying that you shouldn't be saving money. Because that sounds crazy to a lot of y'all. I know. What Mark said, don't save no money. Yeah, but I didn't say don't do anything powerful with your money. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying don't put money in the bank and save it. The money that you would be saving, you should take that money and attack your debt. Because your debt is costing you more than however valuable you think it is to save money in the bank. You will end up being more profitable by paying down your debt than you would be by saving money in the bank. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So, let me wrap this up, man. This is episode 2, Personal Finance Series. I got more to come. These are gonna get real good because as I talk, more thoughts come into, me and into my mental space, and I start to be able to build on these different topics. Like I'll throw a topic up in the air and then I'll just start building on the topic from there. And jewels will just come out that y'all can catch. Like I touched on a lot just in this one episode, which is primarily focusing on credit versus savings. I focused, I went into talking about attacking your debt. I went into talking about not saving your money in the bank and why. Y'all make sure y'all play this back. Replay this, man. Watch this again. There's more to come. You know what it is. Mark Fuller, TeamAlliance. I'm going to holler at you in the next video. Episode number 3 coming next. This is episode number 2 in the bag. Y'all know what it is. Deuces.